The Bears offseason is 100% underway. This chart behind me shows you all 27 of the players that the Bears need to make a decision on. They either need to sign them to a longer contract or they need to get rid of them. And I've gone ahead and separated this into what I think are the top three tiers. Tier 1 is the core priorities. Tier 2 is value and depth. And then Tier 3 is likely to depart. Now, it's kind of controversial, but that's what roster making is. And because we did so well, two things are happening. One, the players that performed well this year, i.e. Nahshon Wright, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, they're due a lot of money. And there's a lot of teams that want a guy that had success on a successful team. So their value's gone through the roof. The other thing that it does is now guys that are on bad teams that are successful players, they want to win. They want to win with a winning team in a winning culture. And that's what the Bears have done this last season. So let's get into this without further ado. Tier 1 is our core priorities, and this is a mixed bag. The top two are safeties, Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard. I don't know about you, but to me, these are no-brainers. You want to bring back Kevin Byard. You definitely want to bring back Jaquan Brisker. Kevin Byard is coming off one of his best seasons ever. This season, he led the league in interceptions. He's an all-pro, first team, and he made it to the Pro Bowl. He's also one of the vocal leaders on this team, not to mention a captain. So I think that at the age of 33, you're going to want to give this guy 2 more years, a bridge contract right there. As far as Jaquan Brisker is one of the emotional leaders on this team. He's the heart of the defense. He just had a career game in the divisional round, 14 tackles, 1 sack. While he might price himself out with a big market, he is only 26 and is the perfect complement to Byard. He should be the number 1 priority for a long-term extension here. Now, I know that he had a controversial season, but when you look at the numbers and you look at his performance and everything that he did for the team, I think that it's a no-brainer. This is where it gets a little bit dicey here. You've got Braxton Jones and you've got Theo Benedict. Both of these guys are at left tackle. Ozzy Trapillo made this very complicated with his season-ending injury. It's looking more and more like Ozzy Trapillo won't be back for the majority of the season, if at all. So you keep these guys because next season you prioritize defense. And I don't think that you're going to get much more at left tackle than these guys. Braxton Jones had a lot of injury coming into this season. And I think that another year in Ben Johnson's season with Dan Rochar, Theo Benedict and Braxton Jones will take that next step. And if I am wrong, go out in free agency and pick somebody up on a minimum deal. But I think that these guys right now, you could get them for fairly cheap. Daniel Hardy's another guy that's a young buck, and you could get him for fairly cheap. So I think that you are going to need some more defensive end depth, and he's a perfect accent. Let's get back into the rest of this. This is value and depth. You could go either way with any of these guys. Andrew Billings, Devin Duvernay, Olamide Zaccheaus, DeMarco Jackson, Jalen Jones. Those are all names that when I look at them, I say, I want them to be a Bear next year. Andrew Billings is starting to age himself out, and he has got an amazing experience at defensive tackle, nose tackle. Unfortunately, I think that Grady Jarrett is the guy that is going to be that experience piece, and I believe that we're going to bring in a lot of young talent at defensive tackle. This is one of the places that we really need to improve. As far as Devin Duvernay, I think that he's a little bit older, and now he was phenomenal on the back half of the season. I mean, he's the one that set us up to win that Vikings game. Cairo Santos kicks the field goal. He was perfect throughout that Green Bay game and was fundamental into that comeback. Olamide Zaccheaus, now here's a controversial one because in the beginning of the season, he was fundamental to Caleb's growth. he was his security blanket in preseason and the first few games in the season. But then he started to drop the ball a lot. And so you want to get him off the roster. But the thing about this guy is we could get him for pretty cheap. So I think that we get him back on a veteran minimum. As far as DeMarco Jackson, I think that we bring him back 100%. When TJ Edwards went down, he was the guy that put the green dot on. He was phenomenal, and I think that we saw that this defense struggled without him. I think that he's fast. He knows where the ball's going to be. He's got great intuition for a linebacker. Then Jalen Jones. Jalen Jones was just great. You always saw him on kickoff on the defensive side. Now here's where this really gets like gut-wrenching. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Case Keenum, Durham Smythe, Jonathan Owens, and Nahshon Wright. Those 5 guys right there, like, I don't even want to talk about it because emotionally, as a fan, these guys really held it down for me. I mean, Jonathan Owens didn't have the strongest season, but he stopped a touchdown this season. He's great on special teams. He's just one of those quintessential guys where, yeah, he's not going to start, but he's outspoken. He is a locker room guy, and he's a guy that I just want him to retire as a Bear. I think that he's doing a great job, and he's filling the role that he's here to fill. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think that we lose him, unfortunately, because he will be the 3rd safety. And I know that DA has that nickel package, but as Kyler Gordon gets more and more healthy, I think that they are going to want to draft a younger guy at that safety position. Let's call it the 4th through 7th round. So I think that we might see them move off of him, unless they could get him for no money. But I think that CJ Gardner's stock went through the roof throughout the second half of this season. Case Keenum demands too much money, and we should move off of him. But that being said, we need somebody like Case Keenum. We need somebody with about 10 years of experience who has deep playoff run experience. That's really what I want to see. If you could get that, I mean, other than that, Caleb's pretty much experienced the gamut this season alone. Last season, he got great experience on being on a bad team. That was like one of the first times in his life he lost like that. That was great experience. In retrospective, we're happy it happened. The second season, though, this is phenomenal. You beat Green Bay twice. You go 11-6. You have 7 come from behind wins. He hit legendary status on some of those passes. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. So he's got all the experience that he needs, but he does need that, like, take a next step. And a guy that's a winner that has 10 years, I feel like there's probably like 4 or 5 guys of those in the entire league. So we should get somebody like that. Although, like I just said, it's probably going to be hard to find. Now you go to Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright, to me, man, he's one of the greatest stories of the season. He still has a potential to become a Pro Bowler this year. He was phenomenal, and he started to get better and better. The story on him is that he wants to stay in Chicago. He wants to be with Al Harris. He wants to be with the Chicago team. He's a very loyal guy. The problem is, Nahshon Wright might have played himself off of this Bears team. He's too good. Like, his contract is going to be tier 1, tier 2, right in between that area. You know, he's not going to command tier 1 money, but he's going to be at the bottom end of that. After this season, he led the league in turnovers with a combination of fumble recoveries and interceptions. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. Call it a lucky season, call it whatever. He's due a lot of money because of those numbers. The last guy on here, or the last 2 guys, are Durham Smythe and Dominique Robinson. I think Dominique Robinson kind of did the same thing. I think that we're moving in a different position because we do have Austin Booker and Montez Sweat, and we're likely going to either use our 1st or 2nd round pick on a defensive end. So I think that Dominique Robinson is going to be too much money for us. And he did a hell of a job in the last half of the season again. He really came on Durham Smythe, again, this one's a tough one. If we could get him for a league minimum, we sign him. Because he was tight end number 3, and he really came on again in the second half of the season. Imagine all these guys that came on the second half of the season, what it would really be like if they stuck around for another season.